Hi, my name is Elizabeth Margison, and I am going to walk you through the meaning, the actions, the consequences, and some tips for avoiding misfeasance, malfeasance, and nonfeasance. Okay, so what is misfeasance? Misfeasance is defined as a failure to conduct in an inappropriate manner an act that might otherwise have been lawfully performed. So in other words, it is a lawful act that is done in an unlawful way. Malfeasance. So what is malfeasance? Malfeasance is an act that cannot be done lawfully regardless of how it is performed. So it is illegal no matter which way you do it. So what about nonfeasance? Nonfeasance is the failure to perform an act that one has a duty to perform. So it's like not doing your job. It's not doing something that you were required to do. So I know all these words sound pretty similar. So what do they all have in common? Misfeasance, malfeasance, and nonfeasance are all forms of negligence that are related to teacher liability. These words are all part of an area that should be of great concern to any and all teachers, something that we should all be aware of, and something that we should know what to do in an instance where it may come up. So what are some examples of misfeasance? So misfeasance, we said, was a lawful act that's just done unlawfully. So an example would be like a teacher using too much force to break up a fight. So two students are fighting and a teacher jumps in to intervene, but while they are trying to break up the fight, they accidentally, break another student's arm or something. That would be an example of misfeasance. Or even a teacher giving a student too much help on a test. So they're taking a state test, like the STAR test, and a student has a question, and instead of the teacher just reading the directions, like they're supposed to, they maybe start giving the student some clues or some hints or on how to answer that question. So that would be an example of misfeasance. Malfeasance, we said, was an act that's illegal no matter how you do it. So bringing illegal drugs to school, like bringing marijuana to school, no matter what way you do that in any form, it's illegal. Embezzling money, whether it's from the school or a school organization or a club, no matter how you do it, it is illegal. Cheating, so teachers have to get certified in different areas, and so you cheating maybe to get that certification would be malfeasance, or even you helping another student cheat on a test or an exam or something would also be malfeasance, because no matter how you do it, it's wrong. Cheating is wrong. Having sexual relations with a student, whether it is physically or just emotionally, either way it's morally wrong. No matter how you do it, it can never be right. Nonfeasance. So nonfeasance, like we said, is a failure to perform an act. It's one's duty, one's responsibility, and they don't do it. So an example would be allowing a student to get harmed from an intruder. As a teacher, it is your duty, your responsibility to take care of the students. Whether the students in your class or other students in the school, it's still your responsibility. So not protecting a student intentionally from an intruder, and as a result them getting harmed, would be a great example of nonfeasance. Another example would be a teacher not watching a student at recess, and as a result the student falls off the fence and gets hurt. So the teacher's at recess, and instead of actively monitoring all the students, they are talking on their cell phone or talking to other teachers, and their backs to the students, and all of a sudden a student is climbing this tall pointed fence and they get cut or they fall off, they break their arm. That is your fault as a teacher. So that would be another example of nonfeasance. So what are some consequences that come with this? So all three liabilities, misfeasance, malfeasance, and nonfeasance, all fall under what is considered as tort law. Torts are civil wrongs recognized by law as grounds for a lawsuit. So misfeasance, malfeasance, and nonfeasance are all punishable by imprisonment, and sometimes they have to go to a civil court and they can be rewarded relief for any damages, or it could even result in being sent to prison. It is very difficult in times to distinguish between the three. So often the cases do have to be taken to a court where they can, determine, was this misfeasance or was this malfeasance? And aside from getting in trouble legally, a person can also be put on probation or suspension, maybe from their job, or they can even be terminated as a result, and their license can be revoked. So how to avoid misfeasance, malfeasance, and nonfeasance. So one of the most important things is just set some safety rules for the students. Make sure you know those safety rules and the student knows those safety rules, and you abide by those rules. Another tip is to try to predict and avoid risky and dangerous situations. And in this situation, I'm not only talking about maybe harmful situations, but also situations where a student may see it different than you. So say you are caring for a student, but in a loving, nurturing way that a teacher should, but maybe the student sees it as something more than that. Okay, you need to be able to predict and avoid those kinds of situations. Always warn students of any potential dangers. Make sure that the students know. Just keep them in the know, and that will help keep them safe. Always provide appropriate and proper supervision, just like the playground thing. You should always know where your students are and what they're doing at all times, because it's your job ultimately to keep them safe. Their lives are in your hands. And then if, say, an incident does occur, whether it's your fault or not, always document it. Tell somebody right away. Write down how you responded so that it covers you in times when maybe misfeasance, malfeasance, or nonfeasance might come up. I hope after watching this PowerPoint, you are more prepared on how to handle situations of misfeasance, malfeasance, and nonfeasance, and how to avoid it. Thank you.